Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. Okay, this is a continuation, kind of note to self, but kind of following through on the stock market book of stock images from, I think this is from 98. So went through and looked at the next two chapters or categories that was in the book. And next two are nature and background. And also started looking at the idea that the number of pages that they're dedicating to a chapter indicates a amount of return that they expect, how much they expect to sell, because each one of these chapters is going to go through and cost and printing costs and stuff to do it, so they need to get a return on that. So in this case, nature has 10 pages and background has only 2 pages. So start with this is our roots. This is what keeps our spaceship going. So this is general nature. I saw a lot of was the glory natural shots. So these are big scenics, big landscapes, beauty shots, panoramics, seasonal sunrise, sunsets. So other people may have this as landscape today or as scenics. They were calling this nature, and they were kind of lumping a number of things in here, but a lot of it was just made up of the big, nice scenic photos. Saw wildflowers in fields, detail only found there in nature. So it's macro photography, like frost in a pine cone, getting those details. Going for dramatic images of nature. Also, overlook, what you might have walked by and didn't see. So this is getting even more into details and the whole nuance of nature. With all these, timing seemed to be everything. To catch the right light, the right moment was critical. So there's definitely not snapshots they're doing. These again would still be great beauty shots for today. Some of the stuff is kind of timeless. But issue was, of course, they were photographing in film, going through scanners and things. Times have moved on, I guess, for that. Also included in this was a whole section on weather, storms, floods, tornadoes, fires, forest fires, snowstorms, lightning. So they're kind of putting that all in the nature category. We might switch it out to disasters or something else, but it's all part of nature. There also were abstracts. Not a lot of them, but there were a few in here. Definitely had waves back then, a lot of wave shots going on, and lightning strikes going on. We're big on that. So a lot of it started looking at, how are the photos, how would they be used? And a lot of them were just pretty pictures, to put on the wall. Other ones might be actually describing a place. So if it's a scenic Yellowstone place that people might want to go to, you might find that in there. So it was quite a mix on that. So nature, part of it, I would say really hasn't changed that much on it compared to what your expectations might be today. This is kind of a continuation. And the fact that they're devoting 10 pages to it, which is, in this kind of book, is a fair amount of space on it. So it kind of continues that, all the guys doing landscape stuff, it still continues to be marketable. The next section was backgrounds. And this was something to go, that something goes over. So you'd have abstracts. They did things with symbolisms, the old telephone, twisty cord with colored lights and stuff on it. Looking for patterns that might, setting up patterns. And then also things to go with other photos. So this would be your clouds that you might cut into a photo, or your sunsets that might get added to a photo. This time in period, you also, screensavers were kind of coming in. So some of the stuff be used for screensavers. But a certain amount of the stuff was used at the time for the graphic design. And so you were going through and you would have a ghosted background scene, and then you go ahead and put your copy and your other drop-in photos and stuff over that. And it looked a lot better than just having it on white paper. It was kind of a style that was going on. And so some of the stuff was also designed for that. I think because it wasn't, it was one you'd have to see to use. I think they perhaps just put a representation of the varieties that you might find with them. You'd have to pretty well call up and ask if you got something that looks like this. So even though it has just 2 pages, I think they were actually starting to deal with more of this than the 2 pages would kind of indicate. So just a couple more pages. We'll get this short, and hopefully that's useful to you. I'm finding this stuff useful for me, and keeping in mind when I'm doing shooting out there for how it can tie in with actual end users, and trying to understand today what the end user might be looking for. So anyways, thank you for watching. Hope it was helpful.